Hello, how are you doing? My name is Joseph Googie, one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, where we help pre-physical therapy students get into physical therapy school without wasting time or money. Tonight we have another Pre-PT Grind chat live. Casey will be joining me here shortly, but every Thursday night, if this is the first time or maybe second time you might have caught Casey and I both together doing a live stream. Every Thursday night, we come into this group and take care of you. We talk about issues that matter, topics that are going to be pertinent and important for you to know as a pre-physical therapy student, so that you can give yourself a great shot at getting into physical therapy school. I see Casey's on here. Let's see if we can get Casey into this. Let's see if we can get Casey on here. How are you seeing if the live stream is going to work well? Good. All right, Casey should be joining shortly. But there he is. What's up, brother? How you doing?
All good, all good. How's things over there?
Everything's fantastic. How you feeling?
Good. Can't complain, man. Life is good. Life is good.
It
Let's get
is.
into it.
Man, all right, let's jump right into it. We have a good group tonight, but every Thursday night we come into this group. We come in here to take care of you, to make sure that we're talking about things that are going to be not just light conversational things that are good to chat about. No, things that are going to be important for you to know and understand, and embrace as a pre-physical therapy student that is hungry and desiring to get into physical therapy school. And so tonight we're talking about the way to get yourself into PT school is changing. And here is how. Now, for a long time, if we go back, Casey, if we go back a little bit, getting into PT school required a few things, right? Because PT has changed over time. It's changed from being a bachelor's degree to being a master's degree to being a doctorate level degree. But even the process of getting in has changed. There was a time a few years back where physical therapy wasn't even a really professional, wasn't really a popular profession to go into based on a few legal things. But really, right now, it's a hot profession. There's a lot of people that are trying to get in, not only because it's a good job to have, but because of other things that are tied personally, right? So people want to get into PT school, and so because of that, we have to start talking about what are the best ways to put yourself in the position as a pre-PT to get in. Now, let's talk about the old way of doing things, Casey. James, how you doing? Bree, good to see you. The old way of doing things as a pre-physical therapy student is on your school campus. You have a school advisor, you have a faculty member, a professor, somebody that is there to pretty much guide you based on what your GPA is, what your grades are, and all that stuff. And essentially, what that does is it kind of gives you a general direction of what you should do. Now, sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't work based on where you're at. But the honest truth is, Casey, that's the old way of doing things. It's the old way of doing things because right now, at least in this era of how pre-PTs are locking themselves in. If you guys, missed last night's live stream, we brought in Robin. She told her story, which was absolutely stellar as a non-traditional pre-PT. If you missed it, that is not one you want to miss. You want to go back, look like in this page, find a previous post with myself and Robin, and listen to that story. But there are so many other stories like hers, stories that don't fit the textbook pre-PT applicant, stories that don't fit the 3.7 GPA or higher, stories that don't fit the I took my GRE the first time and I got a 310 total, stories that don't fit the I applied to one school and got accepted the first time. That's just not the normal pre-PT applicant anymore, Casey. So for us to just say, well, let's just let the school advisors that may have never even gotten into PT school, may have never even applied, they're just looking at what they see the standards being, or maybe a physical therapist that has not even applied to PT school for a long time, especially with how PT CAS has changed. Casey, I don't even think people realize that PT CAS wasn't even there a few years ago.
That's
That's a
true. That's
it's a
true.
newer platform. It's a newer platform. And so we can't rely on an old system of getting in and just follow it up and just pick whatever schools are close by and just see how it goes, and then be surprised that we're not getting into PT school the first time. Be surprised that we're not getting into PT school the second time. Get anxious about comparing ourselves with everybody else and well, this person got in or this person got that. And what ends up happening is we apply to a school or maybe we ask a few things and they just tell you something vague like, well, just retake anatomy or retake chemistry or whatever. Casey, there has to be a better way to get into like if I'm a pre-PT and I'm saying, yo, I don't even fit the standard, I don't fit the textbook, I have maybe below a 3.0 GPA, I have applied 1 or 2 times, I am a non-traditional pre-PT, I'm having a lot of anxiety about not passing my classes this semester, but I still want to be in PT school. Instead of listening to the old way, which tells me that I should not apply anymore, which tells me that my shot of getting into PT school is too low because it's too competitive, there has to be another way. Because the one thing that Casey, you and I have said we believe in is that really there's 2 to 3 things that anybody needs to get into PT school. Before we dive into our topic tonight, there's really 2 things. One, you got to know your reason for doing it. If you're just doing it just because, well, the driving point for that is not going to take you too far. There's not much you can really do with that. But you have to have a strong why, a strong reason as to why you're doing this. That's the first thing I like to know. Number 2, you got to have the grind. That's why it's called pre-PT grind. You have to have the work ethic that will match it up, because when you figure out what you have to do, especially when you have direction, there's a certain level of work ethic and drive that has to be natural, or at least it has to be a part of your process of getting in. And then number 3, you have to be coachable. I used to think it was 2, it's actually 3. You have to be coachable. And right now, as a pre-PT, Casey, I might not be the perfect applicant. I might not fit the textbook. I don't look as competitive as most are saying I should be. How should I start thinking as a pre-PT now? How should I start setting myself up as an applicant so that I can have a shot at getting into the profession that I love? How do I do that, Casey?
Yeah, well, a lot of schools don't really want a cookie cutter, dare I say, traditional kind of applicant who has everything
Mm,
by the books and does everything the same way, because they
mm,
don't really want their class to look like all 4.0 students who want to go into sports therapy and work on ACLs. They don't want 40 students of robots who look the same. They're not interested in that assembly line approach anymore. So if that's the case, then you cannot apply a traditional cookie cutter assembly line way like that words in a couple of years ago, 5 to 10 years ago. If those schools don't want that, you cannot apply that way. If those schools don't want that type of applicant, you cannot go through those traditional methods. And no disrespect to the advisors and guidance counselors, but they're in a kind of a weird position themselves giving you advice, because a lot of these universities are trying to cut costs, and they have one healthcare advisor for physicians or med students, pharmacy
mm.
students, nursing, physical therapy, athletic trainers, PA students, and they're all just giving these directions based on a spreadsheet that was given to them by whoever. So they're saying, okay, you want to go to PT school, let me look here. Oh, doesn't match up, try something else. Then next student comes in 30 minutes later, oh, you want to go to med school? Oh, it matches up, cool, you can go there, boom. And that's how they do it. That's the cookie cutter traditional way. And if you do that, one, you might be deferred and you might, get discouraged and go somewhere else. Or two, you might try it and take more of their advice than not get in 1 time, 2 times, because you're applying that traditional cookie cutter way. And if you do that, it's like feeding steak to a vegetarian. If they don't want it, they're not gonna eat it. So
Yo,
if you're
true.
feeding them something they don't want, you're not
Yeah,
gonna be successful. And if you're doing it the wrong way that they're not accepting, you are not going to be successful. So
exactly.
you can do it that way if you want. Go ahead. I'm already a physical therapist. Joseph is a PT as well. I don't care. It's your own life. You can do what you want. But if you want to get into PT school nowadays, and if you understand how these schools think and at what type of students they want to make up their class, then you have to
Hmm.
do it a different way. You cannot do it the same way that somebody else told you because your cousin's friend's mom is a physical therapist and she gave you some advice, or your advisor who never went to physical therapy school or med school or whatever, they're just employed by the university, giving you whatever.
Mm.
It's not going to work. So you need somebody who knows the non-traditional way, a diverse way of applying different strategies, different insights to these schools' minds and perspectives, who knows how the other side works, who went through PT school, who is physical therapists now, you have to do it that way, or you're going to have a very, very hard time of doing it. So non-traditional mentor, a guide, a program, or whatever you want to call it, is probably only the only way to do it now, to be very successful without wasting, your hard-earned money and a lot of wasted time and energy, because we're all busy, we're all stressed out, we're all, we all want success, but there's more to do than time. So, hey, if you really want that, if you really want to get in and you want to feed steak to a meat eater, or you want to feed a salad to a vegetarian and give them what they want so you can be accepted like that, you have to do it a way that they are looking for. So
exactly.
That's pretty much it.
How you doing, Robin? Like I said before, Robin just joined us.
What's up?
But if you missed Robin's live stream, make sure to go back. What's up, Randall? How you doing, brother? And then we have Katie right here that says not only GPA, but also broaden your experiences in observation settings. And when it comes to essays, bring out your reason why. Exactly. The biggest thing, he says, interesting topic. I never considered how the process changed as well. I remember being told the same cookie cutter things some 5 years ago. I think being exposed to all the areas that PT can work is huge for the process nowadays. Social skills is greater than GPA. We're people profession. Exactly. So the bottom line is, what's up, Jordan Black? How you doing, brother? Like the biggest thing to understand right now, and I need every pre-physical therapy student that is watching this, when this is a podcast episode, when you're listening to it, if there's someone that needs to hear this, and this is something that we honestly believe, but we have seen it like profit pre-PTs over and over once they understand it. That's why we brought Robin in last night, because that was her story. But right now, we cannot play the old school way of getting into PT school. What's up, Sarah? We cannot play the old school way of having to rely on cookie cutter methods. Listen to this. If there are 500 students applying to a program, let's play this game. If there are 500 students applying to a program, and a program wants 40 of them, and they all play the cookie cutter method, well, what are your chances of getting in? Your chances are left to chance or whatever, whoever has a 4.0 or whatever. Now you're playing a game that is destined for you to lose. So it's really not set up for you to win. And the honest truth is, it's funny because sometimes, at least many times, when I am seeing pre-PTs that have struggled, they have built up such a vast amount of growth in that time frame that can't even be captured if they follow the standard traditional way of doing this. Because all is being seen is, oh, that's my cumulative GPA. Oh, that's my prerequisite GPA. Yeah, no, those years were kind of rough because of this, but I got better. I mean, it's still a battle. Right now, the traditional method is designed for someone that has a perfect slate, has been killing it since their first day freshman year, has been cooling. Those are the people that are easy to advise as well. It's like, oh yeah, just do this. Oh yeah, just do that. Those are the ones that can apply to 2-3 schools and they're good to go. But the non-traditional method does not fit the majority. The traditional method does not fit the majority of pre-PTs. And for me and Casey, our goal is not just to help the people that got 4.0s. Well, they don't really need us. What's the point? Our purpose is to figure out, well, if you want to be a physical therapist, if you've decided that this is the profession that you want to serve in, if you've decided that this is now, like Sarah, I see Sarah on here, Sarah's story. If like every other pre-PT in here, you have a story that has compelled you to believe that physical therapy is the one way that you want to serve as a professional, then you cannot follow the traditional way of doing it because it's not designed for you to win. You have to look at it completely differently. We were talking about here about standing out, finding ways to stand out, but really, honestly, it's non-traditional methods, a non-traditional coach, a non-traditional guide, a non-traditional team. You guys are already doing it, being in this group. But the non-traditional route has to be the way we go if we want to stand out as pre-PTs that have a lot of different things that we're trying to have, exposed, because our stories are often more of a resemblance, or they show a clear image of where we really are as applicants as opposed to our numbers. I've met physical therapists that have graduated with 4.0s that are absolutely terrible with people. I have met students and former pre-PTs that are now physical therapists that have 1.9 GPAs. We had one on our podcast that had a 1.8 GPA. If you guys missed it, you might want to go back and listen to it. A 1.8 GPA after his freshman year. Currently a physical therapist, multi-business owner. It is absolutely possible, but we can't play the way it has been set up. We can't play the way it's being set up by our school system. We can't play the way it's being set up by our faculty. We can't play the way it's being set up by our advisors. We have to find people that are at our point B. And our point B means they are exactly where we want to be as professionals. They have done it. They understand the process. They understand the ins and outs. And they know how to help you shine, to help you showcase what makes you different as a pre-PT. So let's freaking get it. If you still want to be a pre-PT, if you still want to be a physical therapist and you're a pre-PT right now and you're saying, yo, I want this, but I have just seen too many doors shut because other people are just telling me, well, it's not looking too hot for you because of your GPA or because of your GRE and so many other things. Well, you got to stop listening to them. You have to stop listening to them. All that's going to do is hold you back. I did a live stream a few days ago where we were talking about getting into your mental rabbit hole. That's all that does for you. It just puts you in a place where you stop functioning at your top, at your top level of efficiency because you're just thinking to yourself, well, maybe I can't. Maybe I'm not capable of. Well, all you need is someone to just guide you through it. Someone to show you the ins and outs of it. And so if you understand that, then you've already taken a huge stride in understanding how you can get yourself into a physical therapy program. We can't follow the traditional methods anymore. We have to put those aside. We have to. If a pre-PT is coming to me and they're saying, yeah, I've talked to a lot of faculty, they've told me this, they told me I should do athletic training, they told me I should do a master's degree and then come back, okay, cool. That's the traditional method. It's game time. So if you're ready for this journey, you better, we got lots of fire coming in all the time. We do a live stream, whether it's myself or Casey, listen up. But if you want to talk personal and you want to say, hey, I want to know how I can figure this thing out for myself now, I understand that the non-traditional method is the way to go, well, send us a message. It's linked up top, contactpreptgrind.com. Go to contactpreptgrind.com, send us a message, and let's start talking now. Because the biggest thing we talked about this going into 2018. We're talking about this now transitioning into 2019. We can't have pre-PTs falling off the wagon because of the traditional way of getting students in or not in. We can't do that anymore. Because what that is, it's a very risky method. And to be honest, it's a detriment to our profession. Because if you have the kind of passion you have, if you have the story you have, chances are you're actually going to relate with patients a lot better. You're going to be able to relate and understand how to better transform their lives. And really that passion that's going to push you through regardless of what your story is. Like Robin, it was being 7 years out of the last class she took. For some, it's having a low GPA. For others, it's just trying to figure out what classes to still take, struggling with certain classes you're taking right now. Whatever it is, let's freaking go. Understand, though, you can't do it the traditional way. You just can't. Anything else, Casey?
Yeah, the schools aren't accepting students the traditional way anymore either. So if you're applying the traditional way, I kind of think of it like this. All these schools outside of like PT-CAS and a few basic things, they can accept students on whatever criteria they really want. So I think of it like this. All these schools, 240 schools, are moving targets, right? And if you are applying the usual way, if you just shoot and don't target yourself with the moving targets, you have a 99% chance of missing. If all these schools are moving targets, they are not accepting students the same way. They are not just like this, and all I have to do is shoot, and hey, I'll hit one. No, they can accept students on whatever they want. They can accept a 1 point whatever GPA. They can accept a 4 point. They can whatever it is. They are different schools within themselves. They are moving targets. So if you are the traditional student following the traditional ways and just shooting a shot, you are going to miss. So that's pretty much it. Stop doing it the same way. Get in our stuff. Contact us. Do what you need to do and get accepted. That's it.
That's it. Stop playing around with your career. Let's get it. That's a good Thursday night. Have a good one. Shantez, it's good to see you as well, brother.
What's up,
Have
man?
a good one. All right. See you guys.